So here's a tool that I like. It's a little rubber tip. I call it a paint mover, but it is what I use to come in here and thin out. Remember I said I needed to thin out these legs? Well, this little tool works really well for me to come in and just thin out some of this stuff. Kind of cleaning some stuff up. You can come in and just kind of clean it up. And mainly, once again, it's mental notes for myself, where I can kind of establish more of a line for myself. Or like opening this space back up and thinning this out. Means I have to come back in with the paint around it, which is what I would do anyway. But even maybe thinning out some of this right here. You can kind of get more openness. Kind of works as a nice little tool. Let's see. All right. It's getting warm out here. It's about 80, so this will be certainly my last video out here today, because it's just a little bit too warm. Never happy, right? And a little green to my yellow ochre here. This sweet little pony here. This colt is reflecting somewhat from the tree and his environment. I kind of like to add that into areas where I see reflected lights happening, reflected colors. It adds a dimension that I've always enjoyed. I'm kind of avoiding the reflections. There could be a lot of work in those reflections. I can see that now. It's okay. That's what we're here for, is to be challenged. I see here this leg is all screwed up. And take my paint mover. I need to open up this space right here. And reestablish. This is a leg back here, but it's only right here. And the other leg comes from under here and comes out this way and down. And so there's a spot that is actually the background that will go in there. So I didn't want to lose note of that. So this guy has actually white socks, but they're not going to be pure white because he's in the shade. Up over there. Don't like that brush. Nope. Not liking it. It's too hard to get paint on, and it's not going on like you want. It's the wrong brush. Yeah, get it out of your hand. Don't keep trying to force it, because holy cow. It's like the right tool for the job. It's like, you know, you don't want to beat an egg with a hammer. Same thing happens in painting. You want the right brush for the job. I've had horses, love horses, been around horses. Never rode a horse till I was, or owned a horse till I was 40 though. It's my birthday present to myself, was a horse. And then what you learn what you really didn't know as far as riding and, you know, all aspects of them. They're actually, you kind of have to keep an eye on them. In captivity, they're not as durable. They're not as, you have to watch them. They can colic pretty easy. Temperature changes, weather changes, wind, barometric pressure. It's like any animal, if you change their feed or any of that stuff too abruptly, you have to introduce things slowly. So, captive, oops, sorry, I'm trying to paint my camera now. So anyway, it's something that was a learning experience for me versus just being around them and enjoying them and loving them, to actually be responsible. It's a pretty big deal. Loved it. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. But it's still very sad. Breaks your heart when they do die. It's like, oh my goodness. Just like any other pet or family member. It's quite painful. So you see what I'm doing? I'm just coming in and enhancing some of these areas. Just getting a little more control. Defining. And you see, it's a very slow process. It's like, I always call it like poaching an egg. You just don't crack an eggshell and have a poached egg. It's got to do its thing over a certain period of time, and then you have a poached egg. To me, this isn't too much different. It's got to come about in its own time. So now I'm just kind of evaluating things. always correcting the drawing. That went on kind of funky. Horses don't have round eyes. They don't have almond-shaped eyes like we do. I see that common mistake. People painting horses are other, especially if they haven't painted a lot of them, they tend to want to. They make human-shaped eyes, almond-shaped, and they're not almond-shaped. I mean, they're kind of a different. Anyway, I have to really study them to see what they are. Horses have their eyes on the side of their heads so that they can see behind them. I think they can see all but a very small percentage behind them because they're a prey. The animals will prey on them, and they need to be able to see what's coming up on behind them. And I've mentioned this before, that predators, wolves, eagles, cats, have their eyes on the front of their head, like we do. We're considered a predator. Our eyes are on the front of our faces, not to the sides. But horses' eyes are on the sides of their heads. Always building the form with the shape of the shadows. He's trying to, right? There's a lot of different ways to paint, and I'm not saying that the way I do things is absolutely how you have to do it. Study a lot of different artists, and there's as many ways to paint as there are artists, and along the way you discover what really resonates with yourself, and that's how you should paint. You know, what works for you, what medium works for you. Subject matters. I like doing landscapes because to me I can play a little bit more with landscapes because I do a lot of portraits, and in portraits you're after making somebody else happy generally. I do a lot of warriors and shaman, and you can find those on my website at DeborahWilcox.com, and my works are for sale, so might want to check that out. All right. So I've been thinking on this, and I think what I would like to do is come in and articulate the shadows in the water. To finish off this session, I want to get after them a bit. But using purple, what is it called? Sorry. Anyway, the ultramarine violet to to get this going. I'm just, what I'm calling, scrumbling this in. And my canvas is dropped off the edge here, so it makes it a little bit harder. And because I am tired today, I'm not used to painting for so long, my third day in a row, and so I know that I'm getting tired, and I know that I'll start taking shortcuts, which isn't something I want to do, but I know that's always what happens with me. So I need to watch myself, that I do not short myself here by allowing myself to get tired. I'm redrawing. You can see I'm kind of moving stuff around. I have an ugly color mixing these two, but it does work well for this this water. Oh, okay, make me move this up. Are we still on? Yeah. Okay. Thought I bumped it. I'm just going to fill this in. Actually, I'm moving this baby up further. See, I'm starting to having to get a little bigger brush. I talked about noodling stuff when you have too small of a brush. You end up noodling it too much. Getting there. Not pretty. Doesn't need to be just yet. Trying to get the those values in there, right? I'm working on darkening it, smoothing it out a bit. Actually, it's all kinds of stuff going on in here. This brush, as you can tell, it's making a lot of, not really my favorite brush stroke going right now. Alright. I'm thinking this is a good place for me to stop on this one, and then we will come back at it tomorrow. Looks like a mess, but his head's right in there somewhere. And then this color is a lot over here. It's kind of a gray, milky, muddy water. So, for now, we're going to call this quits for today. So look for the next one. Be sure and like, subscribe, share. It's all good. And be back with you. Bye-bye.